What's up? My name is Taylor, and if you have ever suffered from addiction or you're suffering with mental health disorders in general, your emotions, whatever you're struggling with, your mental health, please listen to this video. It could save your life, it could save someone else's life, and it could give you the knowledge and information you need to change your perspective and change the way you look at yourself. I spent majority of my life in active addiction. I come from a very dysfunctional childhood, a life of trauma, abuse, and addiction. And with that, it carries a price. Anxiety, PTSD. These things are normal for people who have lived in active addiction. These things are normal for people who have experienced trauma and dysfunction. I decided in 2020 that I was going to get sober, and I didn't really take my healing journey serious, and my mental health declined. I threw myself into college as a coping mechanism, thinking that would be enough to keep me sober. That would be enough, right? That didn't work, and my mental health completely declined. I became depressed, sleeping all day, every day for almost 2 years. I was so broken that I wanted to drink and die every second of every day, but the only reason I didn't was because of my family. How selfish would I have been to give up? But not just because of my family, because a part of me didn't want to give up. There was that tiny, tiny part of me that was whispering, just hold on, just keep fighting, right? Tiny, tiny, tiny part of me. I was on 7 different psychiatric meds, and I was still depressed. I was still anxious. I was still having anxiety. I was still having panic attacks. And I came to the decision that I needed to go back to 12-step programs, and I needed to take my healing journey serious, in which I did. I also made the decision to come off all my psychiatric medications to see where my brain really was at, because I had been in addiction my entire life, on top of just always having psychiatric medications when I got clean, that my brain had never not depended on anything. And I had to bring my brain back to baseline to see exactly what mental health symptoms that I was truly experiencing. I had to add healing onto that. I had to take my recovery serious. And what a lot of people don't realize, because I went my entire life not being told the information that I'm about to tell you, is that it can take 2 to 3 years for the brain to level out after active addiction. And if a person doesn't address what's underneath the addiction, the trauma, the dysfunction, the resentment, the pain, the not being emotionally connected to oneself or loving oneself, then they will always have mental health problems.